This is a video recommendation. It's a review of the ONX X Factor lace-up training gloves on Fit to Box channel. Some of you may know the Fit to Box channel. He's a guy from the Midlands in the UK who reviews boxing equipment. He's been doing it for a long time. Highly recommended channel. And the reason I'm recommending this particular video, this is not the proprietor of Fit to Box. This is the person who created the ONX X Factor gloves. Now, these are a very interesting pair of boxing gloves because they are designed to be used without hand wraps. Now, some people might recoil in shock and horror when they hear about gloves designed to be used without hand wraps. But for me, this is very interesting because I'm really not a massive fan of hand wraps, to be honest with you. I'm not telling other people not to wear them. And for professional fights, you absolutely need to wear hand wraps. But me personally, and look, everybody has different types of hands. Some people's hands get injured more easily than others. I have broken my hand before, once in sparring, and well, I've broken my hand twice in my life. Once in a street fight and once in sparring. And when I broke my hand in sparring, I was wearing gloves that basically had damn near no padding. You know, this is back in the old days when, you know, you go into a boxing gym and you pick out a pair of gloves that's probably been worn 5,000 times. There's damn near no padding in it. My hands were wrapped, but I hit a guy on the elbow and I broke my hand. Very painful. But other than that, I've never broken my hand because, and I very often would not use hand wraps when I was sparring with my own gloves because the technology in boxing gloves has got better and better and better in terms of the padding. In sparring gloves, okay? I'm not talking about professional fight gloves. You absolutely need to have your hands professionally wrapped for a fight. But in sparring, depending on how robust your hands naturally are, you might be able to get away without using hand wraps. I certainly have for a long time using particular types of sparring gloves. And remember, I tend to use 18-ounce gloves with extremely thick foam padding and have the gloves tied very, very tight around my hand. And I got pretty big hands. So I like the concept of a glove that doesn't require hand wraps, a glove that is specifically designed for that. You see, one of the issues with wearing 18-ounce gloves without hand wraps is you get a lot of room inside the gloves. Even if you're somebody with fairly large hands like myself, there can often be, you know, a massive amount of room inside the glove if you don't have wraps on, and that can be a little weird, a little uncomfortable. So these gloves are designed with technology which basically cinches the glove up around your hand. I'll let you guys go watch the video and you'll hear the owner of the glove and also the guy who reviews these gloves explain in much more detail than me. But the glove cinches up very tightly around your hand. It molds to your hand. It's very secure. And it tries to emulate, and this is what this individual who has been a trainer for like 20 years. He's been training boxers and MMA fighters for about 20 years. He explains that the concept of this glove is to try and emulate a pinched boxing glove. And anyone from the UK, you know, the term pinched is sometimes meant as stolen. All right. That's not what we mean by pinched in this instance. A pinched boxing glove is where, you see, on a boxing glove, you have a cuff, right? And that's where you put the laces. That's where you tie the laces around. And if it's a professional fight or sometimes in sparring, you'll tape the cuff of the glove, all right, to cover the laces. Well, a pinched boxing glove is where you actually tie the laces above the cuff. Okay, so what you're doing is you're squeezing down the base of the glove above the cuff and you're tying, so you're locking the hand in even tighter. And you're tying the laces quite far up the boxing glove above the cuff, and you're even taping up there. And this gives the appearance of the glove having an extremely long cuff. And many fighters in the past, like Tommy Hearns, Lennox Lewis, these were guys who would often, in many of their fights, have pinched gloves, where they tape the glove really, really far up, almost close to the knuckle. And that just, you know, gives you a more secure and compact feel to your hand inside the boxing glove. Some commissions allow it, some commissions don't. I seem to remember Tony Bellew having his gloves pinched like that. Again, I'm not talking about stolen, right? But having his gloves taped and laced up very high, almost close to the knuckle in some of his fights fairly recently. So maybe the British Border Boxing Control still allow people to pinch their gloves. But be that as it may, I like the idea of a sparring glove designed around that principle. And this is also a very interesting video, not just because of the unusual glove design here, but because of the knowledge that this man has with regards to, you know, boxing gloves, punching, and all kinds of other stuff. He gives a lot of very interesting insights. His philosophy and his opinions correlate very closely to mine, okay, in a lot of instances in terms of the stuff he's saying. And it's, for me, very refreshing to come across a trainer who thinks outside the box like that, who doesn't just follow convention. And that's when you're dealing with somebody who actually has, you know, something going on upstairs, when they're able to think outside the box. Because a lot of people, one of the things he explains is a lot of people will go to a boxing gym and they'll just wrap their own hands. And why? Because everybody does it. They don't, the idea never crosses their mind that wearing these 18-ounce gloves with extremely thick, dense padding, I might not necessarily need hand wraps. And in fact, I might be losing power if I have hand wraps on. And I might actually be making my wrists and my hands more vulnerable with hand wraps. And one of the reasons he explains for this is that a lot of times when you wrap your hands yourself, particularly if you're using herringbone wraps, you'll end up with a lot of material in your palm. And on top of the material in your palm, you've also then got the boxing glove in your palm as well. The material is obviously the hand wraps, that's in your palm. Then you've got the boxing glove and you've got the grip bar in your palm. You can't make a tight fist with all that material in your palm. So you'll often not be punching properly with the knuckle. And because you're not making a tight fist, you're at more risk of injuring your hand in a situation like that sometimes. You see, this is one of the main reasons I never liked to wear hand wraps in sparring. Even though I did, you know, when I was wearing less padded gloves. One of the reasons I didn't like wearing hand wraps is because I couldn't make a tight fist. You know, and you would be surprised how much of a difference making a tight fist can make when it comes to punching correctly and punching hard. I found like I discovered that I would punch a lot harder and a lot crisper without hand wraps on, you know. Just having the 18-ounce gloves on without the hand wraps, I'll be able to make a much tighter, more compact fist. I'll be able to clench my fist at the moment of impact and punch through the target much more effectively without hand wraps than with them. So the idea of these gloves being designed to be used without hand wraps really appeals to somebody like me. I don't know whether I'm actually going to get a pair, because I can still use the gloves I have without hand wraps and they work perfectly fine for me. And again, just to clarify once and for all, I am not telling people to go out there and spar without hand wraps. Your hands might not be as robust as mine, okay? Might not be as big as mine, etc. And I'm certainly not saying anybody should ever fight without hand wraps in a professional fight, because you're wearing little 8-ounce or 10-ounce gloves. You absolutely need your hands professionally wrapped. And that's another thing as well. If you have your hands professionally wrapped, they will remove a lot of the material from your palm, so you'll still be able to make a great fist. Okay, but it's when people are wrapping their own hands themselves, with these, you know, herringbone wraps in particular, it restricts the hand so much, you really can't make a great fist. Anyway, I'll let you guys go watch this video for yourselves, but this guy here gives great insight into the anatomy of punching. And yeah, I think the technology of these gloves is very interesting. So go and have a watch of the video, see what you guys think, and get back to me. It's Hatman, I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free.
The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.